Hello again YouTube, and welcome back to Just Get a Tesla. And on this week's video, I've got to ask quite an urgent question. Has Elon Musk lost his mind? So you're going to have to forgive me a little bit on this video, because this isn't the video that was going out this week. In fact, I'm recording this Thursday evening and it's going live in less than 24 hours. So this is going to be me talking without many edits. But let me tell you about why I'm having to do this. Breaking news this week, which is that Elon Musk has fired the entire Supercharger team globally, from the executives who managed it, through all of the development team, through all of the people involved in supercharging infrastructure. They've all gone. Now, I cannot for the life of me fathom what it is that he's thinking, because superchargers are the thing that make Tesla great. Yes, the car is brilliant. The Model Y behind me is the safest car in the world. And I'm not just saying that like Jeremy Clarkson, the safest car in the world. I mean, at the point when Euro NCAP and the American Highway Safety Agencies tested this car, it was quite literally the safest car they had ever tested. So Tesla build superb hardware. Tesla build cars that are built out of the box in a way that revolutionizes the way that cars are manufactured. It's a revolution, literally, in how you even think about building a car. So this car has got, a gigacast rear end, where it's just one giant piece of metal on a giant press that suspension and other things are bolted onto. Nobody built cars like that before Tesla started doing it, but now lots of other people are, including people like Toyota, who've seen it, understood the gross profit margins that you can make by taking all of the parts away, and have gone, my God, we've got to have that, because if we don't, we're going to be eaten for lunch by the Chinese. So many things that are good about Tesla. I haven't even talked about autopilot yet. And okay, I'm critical about the autopilot we get in the UK and Europe and Australia, and frankly anywhere that isn't the US and Canada, and potentially coming very soon, China. Our version of autopilot is not what the Americans get, where American cars are, as we speak, literally driving themselves around with no intervention needed at all, increasingly flawlessly. Now, the only reason we haven't got that is because of government regulation and UN regulation, but change is coming and we're all going to get it. Tesla are so far ahead of everybody else on things like that. But just in case there was another problem, they then had the trump card, the card that would blow away everybody else, and that is supercharging. So let's be brutally honest about it. I, in the end, when it came down to buying an EV, had a choice of two cars. I was either going to buy a Tesla Model Y, or I was going to buy a Polestar 2. And I really like the Polestar 2 because I really like Volvo. In fact, I adored my Volvo S90, which I had, although it was diesel and the drivetrain was pants compared to electric, but the car was a palace. So the idea of having an electric version of that really appealed. But ultimately, Tesla won it, partly because I'd wanted a Tesla for a good long time and finally I could actually do it. But the thing that really swung it was, this is Aberdeenshire. I live in the north of Scotland and I need to travel for work. So I need a car with long legs. And this has got long legs, and Polestar doesn't, and Audi doesn't, and Mercedes doesn't, and Hyundai and BYD, or any of them in the United Kingdom in 2024, because the public charging system is awful. Yes, it's getting better. Yes, they're putting more chargers in, but on trip after trip after trip, I go and I see other people on non-Tesla chargers, and I have a look at the speed that the car can charge at. I have a look at the speed the charging unit can actually output at, and then how much it's going to cost. And every single time the winner is Tesla because of supercharging. The only issue with supercharging is, despite the fact that they are pushing more and more and more sites out, they're not pushing them out quickly enough, because this Model Y was the best-selling car in the world last year. You need more charging units to be able to cope with that. So in the UK, we have definitely seen that charging sites are getting busier. But let me just drop in an insert here from next week's video, which should have gone out this week. But on next week's video, part of my trip, I was at the Trafford Centre Supercharger in Manchester, and this one has got an awful reputation for being full of people, and full of vans especially, and people having to queue. I didn't have to queue, but what I saw was the fact that you had multiple charger bays blocked by the non-Tesla EV that was charging on the wrong side. Because if you've got a Mustang or an I-Pace or something like that, your charging hole is in the wrong place for Tesla chargers. But they've opened them up to everybody anyway, even though it's causing these problems. But chargers opened up to everybody in the longer term shouldn't be a problem. The V4 supercharger units, which are now being rolled out into the newer sites, they have got a longer cable, and they have got the ability to be able to just tap to pay on the terminal that's on the back of them, which means that other brands using them should find it easier, and hopefully with the longer cable won't then have to block a space, so you've got one car charging and blocking two stalls. Or that's what we thought, because this week Elon Musk fired the entire Supercharger team. And it's not just that, but he's announced that there is going to be a global slowdown in the number of new sites being opened up. Now, in the UK, that's a bit of a problem, because how can I put it? We've got quite a lot of sites that they're planning to open up. So if they're all now going to be pushed into the long grass, all we're then left with are sites like Sheffield Meadowhall, where the tombstones have been there for 6 months and they're waiting for the power to be connected. That happens quite a lot. So we're already at the point where the supercharger rollout is slowing down and it's getting problematic. And they fired the entire team, saying that they're going to slow down more. And it gets even worse, because just as they take this mad course of action, they also open up practically all of the sites to everybody. So the charging free-for-all, which people are complaining about at the Trafford Centre Supercharger, we're going to get a lot more of that. Let's be clear about one thing. I am absolutely in favour of Tesla Superchargers being open to all users, because we need some kind of standardization. And so many of these so-called rapid chargers, which are being installed here and there, are not remotely rapid. Another drop-in of next week's video. At T-Bay, where they replaced the old V2 superchargers and put some V3 ones in. So it literally quadrupled the capacity when you look at the number of stalls and the charging speed that you're going to get. In the place where the old superchargers used to be, they have now put Swarco rapid chargers. But those are chargers that only go up to 108 kilowatts. 108. Versus Tesla Superchargers, where that car can get 250 kilowatts. So other networks at the moment are stuck on 40 odd different networks, all needing either a different app or different personal information being stored or different ways of connecting, and it's all rather slow. And that's onto a charger which is definitely going to be slower in the vast majority of cases than Tesla, is going to be significantly more expensive than Tesla in the vast majority of cases, and with quite a few of them, they're actually broken. So opening Tesla Superchargers up to other makes is a really, really, really good thing. In North America, they've had a battle for connectors. In Europe, we haven't had that, because everybody uses CCS Type 2. In America, for somehow or other, they managed to get lumbered with the old Japanese Type 1 standard, and they have come up with this kind of Frankenstein thing where American CCS is Type 1 with then the DC fast charging capability added to it, and it's not very popular, and you have got manufacturer after manufacturer after manufacturer now adopting the Tesla standard connector, which is like kind of a modified, not as big as a Type 2 but close to it, and they've called it the North American Charging Standard, NACS. It is the standard. It means that Tesla's technology basically gets licensed and other people have to start using it. We're already seeing other charging operators on both sides of the Atlantic, both in America and in the UK, buying Tesla's charging technology and branding up their own Tesla tombstones on their own network. Standardization is a good thing when at the moment we are in the Wild West when it comes to charging. But standardization on the Tesla format, on the Tesla Supercharger, on the way that they do things, only works when you actually have a team employed by the business to be able to liaise with Ford and with BP and with Asda, isn't it, in the UK, who have bought these things. How are those things supposed to happen if they fired the entire Supercharger team? And this is, I think, the bit where, as I said, I scratch my head, because Elon Musk genuinely is a visionary business leader. It doesn't matter that he personally isn't the engineer who is doing these things. He has built a car company which, as I said, has revolutionized the way that other people are having to think about manufacturing. It led the EV adoption wave. Other people were first. They did it better. And it is now going to smash everybody else with AI. It is the leading edge of leading edge. Then we get something like SpaceX, where again, reusable rockets, not a new concept, but actually being able to get it so you're reusing the same boosters time after time after time after time. Hadn't been done before. Building Starship out of stainless steel. Literally insane, but why can't we do it? And it's that, but why? But why? That question is the key to Elon Musk. The problem is that Elon Musk recently has, in my opinion, gone a bit crackers, because buying Twitter and then renaming it X and then turning it into a platform for basically right-wing hate speech and calling it free speech is absolutely mad. And while he's doing that, his eye is off the ball and he's not thinking about Tesla particularly. And I don't get it. I really don't get it. And this to me is the latest step of, sorry, you've done what? And okay, I understand the idea about companies reducing themselves in size and cutting it down and becoming leaner. That's all fine. But you don't take out the entire team responsible for the trump card that absolutely demolishes the competition. You don't do that. Why would you do that? This has been a bit of a rant, and I am sorry about that, but sometimes you just need to go off on one. So you'll tell me in the comments whether you like this format of video or not. I promise not to do them very often, but this is one where I've read it, gone, huh? And then thought, I've got to talk about it. So tell me whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, if you think firing the entire Supercharger team is a really good idea, whatever. Don't worry about it. The channel will be back to normal next week with more road trip and charging goodness. 1,000 miles of charging, let's just say fun. It didn't all work on next week's video. And to watch that, you need to be able to subscribe so you can see where my stuff drops. And I will see you back here very soon on Just Get a Tesla.